And we are back. 5:14 is the time. And again, new this morning, the latest on that series of car fires. At first, we reported that there were 2 overnight. Now it turns out there were 3. The first one happened earlier or late last night, Newcomb Avenue and Shelby Street. That happened at about, 10 past 11. Let me get some of the latest information here right off the presses. That was at 11:21 last night. That was in the Bayview District here at Newcomb Avenue and Shelby Street. Also, at about 2 a.m. this morning, out in North Beach, you see that that plot on the map here, 350 Francisco Street. That's when firefighters saw 2 vehicles burned at that location, both thought to have been completely destroyed. And then at 3:17 this morning, way out there on across from Ocean Beach, as a matter of fact, at La Playa and Balboa, another car totally consumed by flames and destroying another, completely destroyed, and then a car right next to it damaged by that fire. This is the fire that apparently have investigators beginning to wonder now if we don't seem to have maybe a serial arsonist. They're not sure, but they're out there. It does seem suspicious, though, doesn't it? Over the last week or so, we've had darn near 10 cars go up in flames overnight in San Francisco, and a good number of them have been deemed suspicious fires, according to investigators from the San Francisco Fire Department. So they're looking into that this morning. We're looking to get some pictures of some of these cars and some of the damage this morning, and hopefully get some word from the San Francisco Fire Department, maybe an interview this morning, as to what they think is behind all of this. It makes you scratch your head. All right, more on this as it develops throughout the day. In the meantime, a federal judge has denied a request by a pilot in the 2007 oil spill in San Francisco Bay. He was asking to have his sentence reduced from 10 months for 2 misdemeanor environmental crimes. The judge said that she believes the sentence for John Cota was appropriate. Those are her words, appropriate for his negligent conduct. Cota was piloting the Costco Busan when the container ship struck the Bay Bridge and then, of course, spilled more than 53,000 gallons of crude oil into the bay. Cota will start his prison sentence in September, and he will have to serve the full 10 months. And another major marijuana bust in San Francisco. It happened yesterday at the 2200 block here of 20th Avenue in the Sunset neighborhood. KRON 4's Holly Jewson actually shows us what happened and how police came across the discovery of this huge growing garden.
Police raided this home in San Francisco's Sunset District Tuesday afternoon, confiscating 346 pot plants and marijuana growing equipment. Police say this is just one of 20 different growing operations that they have busted in and around the Sunset District over the past 5 months, and it is an ongoing problem. During Tuesday's raid, a 25-year-old man was arrested and charged with cultivation, possession for sales, and theft of utilities. That's because police say the suspects were using their own wiring to bypass having to pay PG&E for the cost of the heating lamps to grow the pot, which could be over $3,000 a month. And like many of these growing operations, police were tipped off because neighbors complained of strong skunk smells. The suspect arrested in Tuesday's raid did have a medical marijuana card, but police say that only allows the card holder to grow up to 24 plants, not 346. Police say there could be more arrests in connection with yesterday's raid. In San Francisco, Holly Jewson, KRON 4 News.
All right, at 5:17, a couple other headlines for you. This one related to wildfires in California. The wildfire forecast for the entire state and the West Coast, as a matter of fact, could be one of the worst on record. The U.S. Forest Service says this is all due to all the heat that we've been seeing and the lack of rainfall throughout the fall of last year and the spring of this year. And much of the state, including the Bay Area right now, is extremely dry or severely dry. At this point, the fire conditions are extremely dangerous. So far this year, California's largest fire was in Santa Barbara County in early May, and firefighters are on high alert. They're worried about what might happen. In the meantime, PG&E has agreed now to pay the federal government nearly $15 million in damages for a 1999 Northern California wildfire that burned about 12,000 acres. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Sacramento said yesterday that the payment is the second largest recovery for a wildfire in U.S. Forest Service history. A tree fell onto one of the utility's power lines, igniting the fire on private property near Camptonville. The burned area included about 3,800 acres in the Plumas and Tahoe National Forests. The government claimed the fire was the tree, that is, was rotten and should have been removed by the utility before it fell. A PG&E spokesperson says the utility was happy to have reached the resolution and regrets the damage, obviously, that fire caused. The company now inspects its power lines more frequently. All right, at 5:19, let's get an update on the forecast. Again, more heat in store, especially inland, but not as bad as it's been. Good morning, Evelyn.
Good morning, James. In fact, we're cooling down a bit today. Take a look at all this cloud cover out there for us. The last fog satellite to come in, cooler inland, and still staying on the cooler side as we approach Monday and Tuesday. Time right now, 5:21. Want to get a check on traffic starting off in the South Bay this morning. George.
It's hotspot free in the South Bay with no problems. An easy drive on 101 in the northbound direction. 23rd. All right, the time is 5:22. The KRON 4 Morning News will be right back.
And we're back. 5:25 is the time. Again, the latest on our developing story this morning. 3 more car fires overnight. And you're looking at video just this morning. Look at that car completely engulfed. Those flames just raging this morning, obviously damaging the surrounding area as well. That's how intense the fire was, and there are obviously firefighters on the scene now trying their best to put it out as fast as they can before it spreads. But boy, that is an intense scene this morning. This video just shot overnight. Again, those 3 happened just within less than an 8-hour span. The first one was at 11 last night, then at 2 this morning, then at about 4 or so this morning. These are live pictures. KRON 4's Jackie Sissel providing us these shots. This is one of the cars that was damaged. Look at the front end, melted plastic. We'll be chatting with Jackie coming up in just a moment, so stay with us. 5:26 the time. We'll be right back.